Simon Told Helen wins a half length. Zach Benelli second.
Welcome to Greyhound Gossip.
Peaky Blinders start cheering for Tommy Shelby wins the WA Sprint Championship final.
Featuring Peter O'Neill and Leia Ernest.
Mozza moves up to Mermaid Manelli. Fab's Gem 3 deep. Here comes Fab's Gem.
Hard Style Rico by 5 lengths to Simon Told Helen. Third Tommy Shelby.
This segment is dedicated to the discussion and promotion of greyhound racing.
Cindy's Oliver, Rockstar Patriot, Paul Stewart, back-to-back with Rockstar Patriot in the Galaxy.
Handsome Prince, a bolder clear, the former Tasmanian. Handsome Prince has won the $1 million chase.
And a very good morning, everyone tuned in to Greyhound Gossip this Monday. And as always, a very good morning to you, Peter O'Neill.
Leigh, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Exciting weekend for you. Panama Pepper has snuck through to the semi-finals of the $1 million chase. So you're one step away from that $1 million paycheck.
Oh, gosh, fingers crossed we can get through this weekend.
It's exciting. And, of course, on Saturday night here in Perth at Cannington, we had the Spring Gift Final, and Vice Grip was outstanding, crossing from box number 8 for Adam Smithson, and Adam's got him back to his best now after he was on the sidelines for a little while. And it'll be interesting to see where Adam now heads with Vice Grip, whether he heads across to, some of the bigger races like the Melbourne Cup and maybe even the Phoenix.
Yes, he's a superstar. He'll do well to represent us here in WA. Now, let's get straight into the show, Pete. You've got Northam today, and we are joined by a very special guest, and I speak of our Chief Racing Officer, David Hunter. David, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Leia. Good morning, Pete. How are we?
Yeah, good, David. How's the new position going?
Yeah, all ticking along nicely at the moment, Pete. Yeah, we've got some pretty exciting stuff going on, which is great.
And you've just come back from the Eastern States. Was that to do with racing or anything to do with greyhound racing?
Ian Edwards, the CEO, and myself, along with Sam McCready, who's on our exec, were over there catching up with a number of wagering operators, the other PRAs based in Melbourne, and Greyhounds Australasia was on the list. So we caught up with Rob Vella and Marg Long out at Sandown on Friday morning, I think it was.
I mentioned Vice Grip and maybe even Momentum. Panama Pepper, for example, might be looking towards going towards the Phoenix. The Dogs WA had a slot last year. The slot allocations will be announced this Friday, I believe. Did Racing and Wagering WA decide not to do that this year?
We did, yeah. We didn't see the long-term value in being involved in the Phoenix, so we gave that one a miss this year. But we've got some other things that are coming up and some announcements later this week, which everyone can look forward to, which we're going a different path.
Okay.
Can't say too much yet, but Wednesday, I believe, the announcement will be made.
In regards to greyhound racing or all three codes?
All three codes, yeah.
All right.
Yep, we've got some exciting announcements coming later in the week. We were going to be doing it today, but with the Queen's passing, we had to respect the government's requirements and move some of our announcements back. So I think Wednesday's when we will have something out there, which, yeah, very exciting.
So you've previously been in the role here at Arawa, focusing mostly on thoroughbred racing. What's it been like for you now to get more involved in the other codes?
Yeah, well, I've been looking after in the role of head of racing operations before this, greyhounds and harness as well. So I've been broadly across it, but yeah, it's a lot to get across, I must admit. There's, the thoroughbred code's the biggest part of the industry, of course, and there's a lot going on there. But to get involved in the other two at a more intimate level, it takes a bit. But I feel like I'm across it, Leia, so all going well so far.
Have you been surprised with the turnover that has escalated with greyhound racing? Like the turnover and some of the figures that I'm hearing over the last 12 to 24 months has been, astronomical, and especially in the younger sort of demographic.
Yeah, it's a very, very popular pastime for the younger demographic of punters, and yeah, I agree with you. It's probably couldn't be going better. The numbers that we've actually seen come through on greyhound racing are astonishing, really, Pete, and it doesn't seem to be easing up. We've seen some levelling out in the other two codes, but greyhounds goes from strength to strength, and I think a lot of that is the promotion by the corporate bookmakers on greyhound racing. Their customers love it, and they promote it heavily with the gratuities, etc. So it's generosity, sorry. So it's going really, really well in that space. The volume's helped as well. We've had an increase in the number of meetings in the last few years, moving to 7 days a week, so that's helped to drive it along also for us to have a presence 7 days a week, but it's certainly not letting up.
It's really exciting for greyhound racing. And when Charlotte Mills was in your position, she mentioned that the board was looking at a new track. Can you give us, our listeners, an update on what's happening there?
Yeah, so we're continuing to work through that one. We're in the phase at the moment of finding a site. So we've identified a couple of sites that would be suitable for the purpose. The first one didn't work out. After meeting with the local government, there was plans for urban development through that area. So
that's Harvey?
Yeah. It was a site in Harvey. So instead, we're now focusing on another site further north. I'm probably not in a position to say where it is at this stage, but it's a great site if it works out. And we've had some meetings with the Shire of Murray over it, but there's a bit of due diligence to go on that land at the moment as to whether it's going to fit on that, that parcel.
Has the RAWA board already committed to ensuring that we do have a new facility?
They haven't approved a new facility as such, but the support's there from the board to push ahead with it. It's all positive. It's all going that way, but their formal approval won't come until we've found some land and costed it and done all that sort of thing. But it's definitely going in the right direction, and hopefully this piece of land is the right parcel. But if it's not, we'll keep moving around that area to find the right bit to put that facility on. The contamination testing on the site's going on this morning or tomorrow, I think it is, to as part of that due diligence process.
Okay, it was good to hear over the weekend that the Queensland Government has approved the new multi-purpose facility near Ipswich, and the figures that was announced when it was originally bought out in 2019 was going to be in excess of $25 million. I'm not sure what the exact cost is going to be, but that's good for Queensland racing, and it seems right the way across Australia. I'm not sure whether it's because of the popularity with greyhound racing and the punting on greyhound racing, but the governments are getting more behind building these new facilities?
Well, I think Queensland's very much driven by they have to be out of Albion Park. They've got no choice. The government is taking that land back for the Olympics, so that's driven that decision there. They need to find them a new home so they can repurpose that land. Here in WA, we know we need 3 tracks. We know that Northam's not an optimum facility, either from a track design but also from a climate perspective. We can't really race up there for half the year, so that's very much driving our decision that we need another facility and the ability for the industry to grow going forward.
I love driving up to Northam. The new season started 2 weeks ago with the canola fields, and it's just picturesque up there at the moment. But I understand in summer it's not
too hot.
Yeah, it's too hot for racing. Yep. But everything seems to be going really well with the new the new season.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, we had that hiccup unrelated to the work that was done on the track with the lure. The new Safe Chase lure's in. It's all working really, really well. That same lure will go into Cannington as well, and also into Mandurah. So we'll have that Safe Chase lure at our 3 venues, of course.
Now that we've seen Northam can stand up, although it's only been 2 meetings, does that mean we'll definitely be going ahead with the upgrade of Mandurah next year? And when will that happen?
Yep, so Mandurah is the planning for that. It did go out to tender earlier in the year, but there was just no way that a contractor in the current construction market could guarantee it would be done before the end of before going into summer when we couldn't use Northam anymore. So we took probably the sensible decision that was not to proceed at that time and instead do the work after summer this time. So it's scheduled to go ahead in mid-March, so straight after the Galaxy and the Perth goes to 2 races there. Then the Mandurah upgrade will proceed then. And we've gone ahead and procured quite a few of the things that we need, the stuff that could cause us a delay in the construction market coming out of Europe, etc. We've gone ahead and procured all that now. So the boxes, the lights, etc. have all been procured and they'll just be stored on site. So we're ready to go. So we've really mitigated any risk of there being any further delay to that project.
And that's planned to go ahead late March, early April next year after the Perth Cup?
Correct. Yep. Late March it should go ahead. That's all in train. There are some work still going on the design. There's been a bit of an issue with the 600, getting a 650 metre box onto that new laid out track, but I believe that they've come up with a solution to that, so we should have that all finalised very soon.
And final question for me, what's the upgrade with Greyhounds as pets with their new facility? Charlotte Mills mentioned prior to her leaving that there was going to be a new facility purchased. Has that happened, and how are we looking?
So we've purchased another facility for GAP, and at the moment the guys are working through upgrading those kennels that are there to make them suitable to use for GAP as an overflow facility for the existing facility that we've got. So that should be up and running in the next few months. And we're working through longer term what what that looks like, whether we fully upgrade that new site or whether we run the 2 existing sites in parallel and perhaps purchase another site that's all the construction works going on while the other 2 are running. So we've got some designs going on at the moment to decide whether there's enough room on this site, whether that's just a stopgap, or whether we go to another site as well and then dispose of the other sites in the next 4 or 5 years.
Before we let you go, David, I do have a question in regards to the Trace the Dream syndication and all that's been involved. You've been at a few of the events.
I have,
they're
great fun. Yep.
Yeah, they're super, super fun. We've only had the Greyhound Chase the Dream for 2 years now. What's the feedback been from that, and will we be doing it moving forward? Yeah, the feedback's been super. Unfortunately, last year, a bit of a hiccup. COVID saw a lot of teams pull out. It just happened to be at the wrong time when everything started to open up. But yes, definitely we'll be going ahead in future years. I don't think I got to an event last year, but I was definitely at the ones the year before with you there, and then they went really, really, really well. So we'll definitely roll on to one in the following year in normal times again. Yes, fingers crossed that we have no COVID, because I know David Short had to pull out as well in the second event. It was unfortunate that it was kind of when things opened up and it was spreading through the community. So a lot of people getting out because they were forced to stay at home, but also others that didn't feel comfortable going out because it was spreading at the rate that it was. But I think that's all behind us, and onwards and upwards for that one. And there's an owners function down at Mandurah this Friday night, so I believe Shorty's going down there for that, so that'll be a big night. I went out to one at Ascot on the different code. Yes, I saw you at the one over the summer period, and it was great fun. I think it's a great initiative for RAWA to reward the existing owners. Yeah, the racing marketing team are doing those across all 3 codes, and they're going really, really well. Generally sold out pretty quickly after they put the tickets out to everyone. It doesn't take long for them to be snapped up and waiting lists. So yeah, that's fantastic that we've got owners engaged at that level, that they want to come along to these things. Thanks for joining us this morning. Exciting news coming up later in the week for the 3 codes, and Greyhound Racing, I'm sure we'll bring our listeners up to date with that as soon as that comes through. Absolutely. Good to see you guys. Have a good week. David Hunter, who joins us this morning, the Chief Racing Officer for Racing and Wagering WA, and some exciting news with Greyhound Racing going forward. And we'll wait till later in the week to see who has actually got those Phoenix locks. They'll be announced on Friday. Let's head across now to our next special guest on the program, Casey Mazgaltsidis, who I might have pronounced her surname wrong, and Casey will correct me, I'm sure. She joins us this morning. Casey, good morning. Good morning. I totally aborted that, didn't I? Sorry, I apologise. It's exactly what it's pronounced how it's not spelled. Yes. How are you this morning? I'm good, thank you. How are you? Yeah, good. We thought we'd get you on because you are doing a fundraiser, and I know it's not going to be happening until next year, but you're getting in nice and early, and we thought we would get you on just to tell a little bit about the story and how you're getting involved in raising awareness and also money for Bowel Cancer Australia, an event that one of your companies is actually organising next year. Yeah, so Casey Events, as most people will know, I usually do a lot of weddings, etc., but I've always wanted to get into the corporate side and charities. And obviously in 2018, I lost my mum with bowel cancer. It was, horrible to watch. It just eats your... Sorry, I'm going to get emotional just talking about it. But it just eats you away. And unfortunately, bowel cancer is not well known. It's not spoken about enough. It's actually a small charity in Australia where they don't even have guest speakers or anything. They just rely on other people to do fundraisers for bowel cancer. And bowel cancer is one of them that hasn't got their own gala ball or any big events as such. So I've just decided I've made it for next year, so it gives me plenty of time to do a fundraiser. So all funds that get raised on the night will go to bowel cancer, and if successful, I want to make it an annual event. So, Casey, you mentioned that there's not too much awareness around bowel cancer. With you having this ball on, do you think it's going to be good not just for the fundraising aspect, but to also raise awareness and bring education around the cause? Yes, because to be honest, I didn't know anything about it until my mum was diagnosed, and still to this, I probably still don't know the whole, everything about it. So I'm obviously going to have a lot of material about bowel cancer. And then I've also got a guest speaker, which she had stage 4 colon cancer, which the colon cancer is obviously within the bowel cancer, and she
is a survivor, so she's a guest speaker. So she will be talking about. I meet up with her at the end of this year, and she will talk to us about what it is, how she did it. And I'll have a lot of material about it because I'm still learning as such, and it's just not well known and it's not talked about enough.
Casey, without upsetting you too much, and if I am, just tell me, and we'll move forward, and I'll tell you or tell our listeners more about the ball. But how old was your mum when she was first diagnosed?
So we first found out in 2015. So I think she was 53, 54 when she was diagnosed. And
how long did she have the cancer for?
2018, she actually passed the day after Glenn got his award at the Greyhounds Award in 2018. So that was 15, 16, so 3 years.
It was such an emotional night that night, and so sad for your family because you've got a young child yourself, and I follow you on social media, and I know you from different events, but you have really struggled, haven't you, as any young girl would do, becoming a mother for the first time and, wanting advice, and your mum's no longer there.
Yeah, so ideally when we fell pregnant, it was planned, but it came a bit quick because I wanted to try and get a grandchild here so my mum could see. But unfortunately, he was here, so she passed a month before he was born. So obviously, ideally in the world, I wanted to get married and have kids. But when we found this out, I thought one thing I can give her is a child. So, yeah, but unfortunately, she couldn't hold on any longer. So,
and you've got to be...
Yeah, it's been hard because when I was pregnant, I couldn't really grieve because I had to look after myself. Then I had kids. And, yeah, there's times where it's hard because my mum was like a rock. But my dad's trying to take over the mum and the dad role. So So I'm still lucky. There's other people out there where that's worse, but yeah.
You've got a beautiful family, and thank you for sharing that with our listeners. So tell us about the event. It's coming up on Saturday the 4th of November next year.
Yeah, so it's at the Hyatt Hotel, and yeah, I've got some entertainment booked in. It's the money that we're going to raise through any donations throughout the night. We've got a live auction, silent auctions. And so I'm getting sponsors on board to help, obviously, fund the event. And if our listeners want to go on and buy tickets, which they can do now because they are on sale, how do they do that? There's a URL I have. It's a very long one, so I'll be posting it on my Facebook page, but you can just go to eventbrite.com.au and you just type in Dream of Sunshine.
And Casey, for those who can't make it to the function, is there any other way that they can donate to the cause?
Yeah, so they can either go through Casey Events and donate, so they can just email through and I can give details. Otherwise, you can go straight onto the Bowel Cancer Australia website, and on the website there it's got a donation page and you can just put in your details.
And Casey, only a few weeks ago I had a test sent out from the government because I'm now over the age of 50, and they send out every 2 years to have a test, and it is so easy for men and women to have this test, so make sure you get involved. And if you haven't done the test recently, go to your doctor or go online to Bowel Cancer Australia and certainly have a test, because it is a lot easier than what it used to be. And if you find this out and get checked up regularly, then you've got a better chance to be able to get through it if you do come down with bowel cancer. Thank you for sharing your story this morning, Casey, and I'm sure we will talk to you leading up to the event next year.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
Good on you, Casey. Joining us on TAB Radio on Greyhound Gossip. She's a beautiful young lady, and Casey Events, she does a really good job. Casey Events actually organised on a brighter note, organised the picnic that Sharon and I had maybe last year. You remember that down on the South Perth foreshore?
Yes.
She does a really good job and sets it all up for you. And I went in and Sharon thought I was great for putting this together.
Going to propose.
But it was all Casey Events. Let's continue on. A man who is probably past proposing because he's married, and he's looking forward to another $1 million chase. And that is Jason Linclon, who joins us online. Jason, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Pete. Leia. I'm fortunate to just join in time to get those romantic secrets from you there, Pete. So that's good. I'll put those to use for my wife's birthday in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's she won't be disappointed, and you will get plenty of brownie points. Now, talking of She's a Pearl, who won the $1 million chase last week, were you concerned at all going into the heats there the other night, or the qualifier there the other night?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my sort of my opinion on how she'd gone at Goulburn, I certainly wasn't shy about it on the show. She was pretty tradesman-like first up, and making a few excuses there. But second up, I just thought she was pretty disappointing. Okay, she missed the kick, but she didn't really show any zip after that to put herself into the race. And, okay, she hit the line good late, but look, then during the week, not so much a scare. She doesn't have any injury problems. It's all just sort of mental, and with her getting over the season and just not showing, I guess, the trainers the signs. And everyone out there listening will know it's just little nuance stuff when you know your dog's ready, whether she's biting the gate or, whether she barks at a certain time. As I said, every trainer would know their little nuances with their own dogs. And, just we weren't seeing that with her this time round. But as the week progressed, there was a few more positive stories coming out of the camp. And by Saturday night, we were pretty confident that she'd still run a good race. Seeing her there on track, she looked pretty much the same as what she would normally before an egg or an MDC earlier in the year. And I was fortunate enough to just grab Millsy for a bit of a chat on the way to the boxes. And like he described, she's not far away from where she was earlier in the year. So it's one of those things, Pete, where, with every week she's going to get better. So what you saw from her last week, we'd expect her to improve on exponentially again this week.
Jason, we've got the two big Ps going into the semis, Pepper and Pearl, and I have to ask, what did you think of Pepper's race on the weekend?
Yeah, look, it was really good. He began really well, which I guess would please you first of all. He beat out a very fast beginner in Black Fox. I haven't had enough time to sort of go back and watch the replay ad nauseum yet, but you guys might have. I thought just watching it live, running through the pen and going into the back, he just collided with the leader, and that's where he lost a bit of momentum. And again, watching from behind the boxes down the straight, the leader was certainly coming out on him, and they made contact a couple of times as well. So I think that would have taken away from his momentum. Look, he'll have a better week, as Steve sort of described on Sky. He had the final at Richmond Friday. He then tried box-to-box Wenny Tuesday, and then he's in a race Saturday. So we'll be able to leave him alone a little bit more this week. He'll be wiser for the run. And look, with a good draw, Leia, I'm sure it'll be very, very dangerous.
I'm glad you said, Jason, that there was a bit of bumping down the back, because when he loomed up to the leader, I thought he's going to go straight past here. And then I was watching it thinking, this is not the Pepper that I know. So I'm glad you said that. And the time wasn't overly quick.
No, not on the night. And look, the track is running really quick there at the moment. We've sort of mentioned Super Australian. She's a good guide because, you've seen her win nearly 30 races at Wentworth Park. And again, as everyone out there listening will know, look, at 3 years of age after 60 starts, she hasn't all of a sudden improved 6 lengths. She's gotten a little bit stronger at the end, which has contributed to quicker times. And just with the warmer conditions and the fact that we haven't had the amount of rain that we had in the first part of the year, the track there at Wenny's now running really, really quick at the moment. As I said, Zipping Alabama was a pretty good indication of that, having run 30-odd the last couple of weeks. And she wouldn't have got, I wouldn't have thought she wouldn't have got under 50 earlier in the year. So, look, the time I don't think was reflective of the effort in any case, but he'll improve a lot for that.
Who do you see as the main danger to She's a Pearl on Tab Touch? She's currently at $4.80 to take out the final. Plaintiff and Zipping Alabama, good odds cash all at $7.50. French Martini 10 and Panama Pepper with Coast Model currently at $11.
Well, look, the history of the race sort of tells you a lot about what you need to win it. We've had 4 editions, 4 leaders have won the race. So dogs like Shipwreck, Zipping Alabama, those kind of dogs you can leave me out of. But Zipping Alabama, and again, she's going really well, and the kennel got her flying. But it's just a massive overreaction by the market to have her, what is she, an $8 or $9 chance. Go back 2 or 3 weeks ago in a free fall at Wenny, she'd have been $8 or $9, Pete. Now she's $8 or $9 to win an MDC, and she's still got to win 2 more races to do so. So, I think those sort of run-on dogs you can leave me out of. You might need to scroll down a little bit, Pete, but there's a dog called Ibrox Wildfire here in New South Wales at the moment who I think is very, very underrated. She's already run I reckon she's already run 50 around there, and she'd be capable of getting that down a little bit quicker. She was awesome at Maitland, qualifying behind Dipping Maserati. I'm not saying that she's the one that we're most scared of, but if I'm a punter looking for a bit of value in that market, I'd absolutely recommend you have something on Ibrox Wildfire. In terms of the dogs that we're sort of scared of, Pete, I don't want to sound conceited, but it's really all about Pearl. If she gets back to her best, I think we've got the wood on the others, to be fair. And the dogs that we'd probably be looking to avoid, one of the dogs that we drew on the weekend. He's on fire, the South Australian, who I'm led to believe holds a number of first section records there in Adelaide. He went 5.36 to the mark and led Pearl on Saturday, but he wants to push up the track as well. So having those speed type of dogs, Pete, in against us is, that's the danger as far as we're concerned. So dogs like Plaintiff and Vermouth, these sort of dogs that can get under 5.40 to the mark are the ones that not so much we're concerned about beating us, but they're the ones that can sort of ruin our race. So they're the dogs that we'd be looking to avoid in the draw.
So Urbox Wildfire is currently at $21, and I have to go to Northam, so I'm going to cut you short, but I just wanted to ask your thoughts on the South Australian Oaks and the Derby most importantly, because Columbus Manelli seems to be a ridiculous price. I liked his run the other night. He's $15 on Tab Touch. I know he's drawn awkwardly in 5. What did you make of the run?
Yeah, I thought he was good. He's obviously a dog with a big motor. Box 5's a bit ugly for him. Look, the dog I like hasn't drawn necessarily any better. But if Hector Fawley's not one of the best pups in Australia, I'll give it away. His last 2 runs there at Angle Park have been extraordinary. His form at Sandown of recent times has been amazing. He's potentially a superstar. So he's got an ugly draw, but he's got that to offset. The Oaks will be a lot more even. I thought some of the heats there were really good. The South Australians played a big part with all their early pace. That's one I'd have to chew down on a little bit more to have an opinion, Pete.
All right, and Sacred Stance, I know you've had a little bit to do with this dog. He was impressive winning the Healesville Cup, $50,000 for running up the straight. Yeah, it was a stunning win. He's a dog that, just through my dealings with Punters HQ, I recommended Joe have a look at him, and then Joe asked me to negotiate the purchase of him as well. So, I've got a foot in that camp, Pete. His win yesterday, really good judges were saying this is one of the strongest Healesville Cups of all time, and you watch the first half of the race, he's never out of trouble, just continually banging into one another. So I thought he was really gutsy there, Pete. He'll go to Capella Cup next, and his main aim will be the Hobart 1000. Good on you, mate. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week. Hopefully you'll have $1 million in your kick. You might be able to buy us a beer.
Hopefully I have $1 million.
Oh, sorry, Leia's here as well.
There you go. Leia's, you're forgetting about your
come on,
offside.
Pete, where are your loyalties?
Well,
I know.
Leia's never ever bought me anything. Actually, she has. She bought me a pair of socks one day for my birthday. So, yeah, okay. I hope Leia wins. I hope the Pearl doesn't qualify. Jace, thanks for joining us.
Fantastic. See you, mate.
Jason Linclon, tongue in cheek there. I hope that they both make it through to the final. It'll be a great race and $1 million on offer. Good luck. You're heading across.
I am. I'm flying over Thursday. Be back on Saturday.
Good on you. That's Greyhound Gossip. We'll take a break. Back with race day after this.